Alrighty. Hopefully, this is going to work a little bit better and we're not going to see any crashes or anything along those lines. We're going to try this. We're going to try some different things. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to highlight chats, which sucks for now. But I am going to be able to, I can see your chat. I can have the conversation. I can't share my screen. I can't do those things. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Please let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me. Would greatly appreciate that. Honestly, it just sucks with all the. I gotta find a new system to do my live streams. The current one that I'm doing just isn't working out. Just isn't getting the job done, and I don't like that. Don't like that at all. I want to be able to want to be able to talk to you guys. I want to be able to have these conversations with you guys more regularly. And right now, the system that I'm using just doesn't do that. Keeps crashing because this isn't the first time that's happened. But we're back. We're live. Hopefully, everyone can hear me. Hopefully, everything's going good. Please let me know if that is the case. And yeah. So what was I talking about? Oh, the salary cap. So again, we went through the salary cap numbers. We went through everything. We made sure that everything worked. We made sure that everything was going through. And again, the New York Jets have a lot of ability to be able to, create their money, to do different things, to, we can work. There's things that we can do. I'm not worried about the salary cap. As someone said in the live stream before it crashed, the New York Jets are in a position where no matter what, we're going to be able to have the money. The New Orleans Saints have been pushing this dead cap hit situation to next year and 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 to next year for years now. They've been doing this for so long. And with that, so it comes back to the situation of I'm not worried. There's no need to be worried. So let me get my water. I'll be right back. Alrighty. So let's do this. Today's stream was all about ranking and rating the New York Jets position groups against the rest of the AFC East. So let's do that. I will be using to rank the position groups of the New York Jets versus the rest of the AFC East, so that if you guys want to come along and tag along, you can. What I will be using is the PFF lineup tool, as they have what they see as a predictive roster. And that's what I'm going to be basing my rankings off, is predictive rosters that PFF uses. I will not be using the PFF, grades to sway my decision here. But we're going to rank offensive line, wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, and quarterbacks. Those are the 5 things that we're going to do on offense. And then on defense, we're going to do defensive backs as a whole, so safeties and corners, defensive line as a whole, and then linebackers. So really easy there. That's how we're going to rank them. And that's it. So let's start on everybody's favorite side of the football. We're going to start on the offensive side of the ball. We're going to start with everybody's favorite position, and we're going to go quarterback position. And these are going to be my, at least I'm going to try to be honest. I'm going to try to be unbiased. And these are going to be what I truly believe as the rankings. And then in the end, we're going to rank overall offenses versus and overall defenses, and then the overall team in the AFC. And AFC East, let me be more specific, not the whole AFC. We're just ranking our guys against the AFC East. They account for about a third of our schedule. And so that's what we're going to be doing here. So let's start with the quarterback. Obviously, we know that the New York Jets have Aaron Rodgers. The Buffalo Bills have Josh Allen. The Miami Dolphins have Tua Tagovailoa. And the New England Patriots have Mac Jones. I think the easiest conversation here, and I think the easiest rankings is going to be Miami and New England when it comes to ranking the quarterbacks, because it's very easy. Mac Jones is the worst quarterback in this division, and it's not even close. And then it goes Tua Tagovailoa. And now, here's the thing. Tua is closer to Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, and not Patrick Mahomes, to Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers than he is to Mac Jones. Mac Jones is not a good quarterback. Tua is an average quarterback. The problem with Tua is his health. Like, he can get the ball out quickly, accurately, and get it into his playmakers' hands and to do all those things. But can you really rely on him to make it past 3 to 5 games? Very, very, very hard. It's very hard to do that. So I have Tua in third. Now, the real conversation comes, do you take Josh Allen or do you take Aaron Rodgers? And the reality is that Josh Allen is Superman, right? In the sense of he is told to put that team on his back, and he does. Because the only weapon that he has is a guy by the name of Stephon Diggs, and that is it. They don't have a running game. They don't have any other weapons outside of Stephon Diggs. They don't have a slot receiver. None of that stuff. And so when I'm taking that into consideration, and again, I'm not looking at the rest of the teams to help justify this ranking. When I look at all of the responsibilities that are put on Josh Allen and the fact that he's younger and probably more durable, I will be giving the nod at the quarterback position to Josh Allen. I will say that he is 1A of this division, and I will put Aaron Rodgers as 1B. And the only reason for that is age and athleticism. Josh Allen is what Aaron Rodgers was at his age, just not as good, because I think Aaron Rodgers was the best thrower of the football ever. Just that's the reality of it. And Zach Burner, you're absolutely right. Unfortunately, I can't highlight chats for today's stream. I'm using a new I'm just streaming directly with YouTube because my software has been acting up too much lately, and I don't want the stream to crash again. So I can't highlight chats, unfortunately, which sucks. But I can see your guys' message. Zach, you're absolutely right. The Jets did exploit Josh Allen last season, and we did almost beat them twice last year if we had a quarterback. But we did also do the same thing to Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. We beat them, and we made Aaron Rodgers look silly to the point to where he looked at us differently and came here, right? So our defense is going to make most quarterbacks in the NFL look silly. That's how good they are. But we're not talking about defense. And a fungus among us, you're absolutely right. Tua should leave the league. He seriously considered retiring, and I think he should have retired. Like, I think that's real. He should have retired, because if he suffers another serious concussion, like, dude, he is shortening his life for this game. And I understand that you're making generational wealth and that you're going to be making all of this money. And all, dude, it is not worth it. It is not worth your health. It is not worth shortening your life by 20 to 30 years. Like, how many guys are we seeing with CTE and all of these things coming out after the fact? If you're this fragile, if your body can't hold up to the game, and unfortunately some people's bodies can't, don't do it. It's not worth it. Your youth and the money is not worth your age. And you're like, when you get married and you have kids and grandkids, it's not worth giving up those moments to be a superstar in Miami. Like, it's just not. I agree with you 100%, a fungus among us. But again, going back to the list, right now I have the quarterbacks ranked 1A, Josh Allen. 1B, Aaron Rodgers. Number 3, Tua Tagovailoa. And then number 4, Mac Jones. And I would do the same thing as if we were to rank the whole quarterback room. So right now, the Buffalo Bills are leading the pack. It's not going to keep going on. Let's move to everybody's second favorite position, and that's running back. And I think this one is also kind of easy to break down. I think the worst running back room in the AFC East easily has to be the Buffalo Bills. When you look at just everybody that's involved in that running back room. Unfortunately, they don't have a guy that's really worth anything in that running back room and all of that stuff. And the reality is, Zach, you're absolutely right. Josh Allen is running back 1. So the Buffalo Bills take up that last spot in this running back room ranking. Now, a real difficult question comes to in my mind when it comes to the running back rooms of Miami versus the running back room of New England. And I think New England is going to take the nod probably. But I like what they were able to get out of Jeff Wilson. Like I like Myles Gaskins and Jeff Wilson and Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert. Like, that's an interesting group. Miami's going to have an interesting group in the running back room this year. But I'm going to have to give them the number 3 spot in the running back rankings. And the real reason for that is because Ramondre Stevenson is a dog. He is that good when you look at the running back rooms and compared to everyone that's not named the New York Jets. And that's real. That's just real. So they also have Ty Montgomery, ex New York Jets great. Pierre Strong Jr., James Robinson, a lot of people forget, is also a New England Patriot now. So for me, New England takes up the second spot in the running back rankings, and the New York Jets easily, and I mean easily, take the top spot when it comes to the running back room. Breece Hall is a top 10 running back, probably top 5 running back in this league. And I don't think that's a stretch to say that. You can ask that Jack Skowronski kid who just came up. What's up, man? He's from Pittsburgh, and he watched Israel Abanikanda absolutely light up the ACC last year, and he is incredibly explosive and a steal that the New York Jets got in the 4th round. You add that with Zonovan Knight, Michael Carter in that running back room. You've got a lot of really explosive talent. Keep an eye out on the kid out of USC who went to mini camp and is going to be invited to the 90-man roster, I believe, truthfully and honestly, because he has a shot to make the roster if he's like given a real shot. We've got the best running back room. It's not crazy. Like, it's not even close. It's not even close. So, New York Jets win the running back room race. Now let's move on to the tight ends, because the tight ends are an interesting conversation. So the New York Jets obviously have Tyler Conklin, Kenny Yeboah, CJ Uzomah, and Jeremy Ruckert, as well as Zach Kuntz. The Buffalo Bills have Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid, and then Quinton Morris, the guy that they had last year. The Miami Dolphins have Tyler Kroft, ex-New York Jet great, Tanner Connor, Durham Smythe. Why do I feel like Durham Smythe is a million years old? He's not. He is only 27. Jesus, it feels like he's been in the league for forever. And then the New England Patriots have Mike Gesicki, Hunter Henry, Scotty Washington, and a bunch of other guys. If I had to rank these tight end rooms, Miami's going to take the last spot easily. It's not even close. And then what I did, because I think this is fair. I think that the New England Patriots and the New York Jets are ranked together. Because while a lot of people might not be big fans of these guys, Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki, I like those guys. I like that combo. It's a really good combo. And then when you look at the New York Jets, we've got a lot of just guys. You know, we don't have a superstar. We don't have this out of this world tight end room. We got a lot of really good tight ends, but so do the New England Patriots. Mike Gesicki's a really good tight end. So is Hunter Henry. I like those guys, and I like that combo. And I think Zachary said it perfectly in this situation. The Buffalo Bills are going to have to take this. Dawson Knox is one of my favorite tight ends in the NFL. If he played for a team not named the Buffalo Bills, I'd be a Dawson Knox fan. They were able to get the wide receiver who's built like a tight end in Dalton Kincaid. That's a really big add for that team. And then you've also got Quentin Morris, who can block relatively well in that tight end room. You got to give the tight end position the advantage at tight end to the Buffalo Bills. And again, I don't love that, but the addition of Zachary beat me to it. The addition of Dalton Kincaid really elevates that room beyond anything else that the rest of the AFC has. The rest of the AFC, I feel, has depth beyond their first two guys. But what I don't see is the same level of top-end talent as the Buffalo Bills have. So there's that. What's going on, Matt Smith? I don't know if I agree with that. I still think Dawson Knox single-handedly is better at the tight end position than the rest of the New York Jets tight end room. But I get what you're saying. But now they have two weapons there in that tight end room in Buffalo. It's a big add. It's a big deal. So I love that addition for them. Tight ends go to the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo has two now. I should be writing this down, right? Give me a second. Let me catch up. Does anyone remember my rankings? What I did? I'm going to go Bills, Jets, Fins, Pats. The Bills have the 1A. Jets have 1B. Fins have 3. Pats have 4. Then the Bills have 4. Jets have 1. The Fins have 3. And the Pats have 2. Now we're in the tight ends. I gave the Bills 1. The Jets 2A. The Pats 2B. And the Fins 4. Boom. Thank you. Beautiful ranking. So the New York Jets have 2 first-round placings, and so do the Buffalo Bills. Look at that. Alrighty, let's move on to the offensive line, and we're going to rank these offensive line units because all of the offensive line units in the AFC East are absolutely in shambles. They're abysmal. Now, when you look at the New York Jets compared to the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots, I think the easiest conversation to have is that the Miami Dolphins probably have the worst offensive line unit in the AFC East. Right? No. I'm sorry. It's the New England Patriots. Yes, it's the New England Patriots because they lost their tackle and they replaced him with Riley Reef. It's not a good tackle upgrade. So I'm going to give the Pats the worst offensive line unit. Oh, crap. No, they're not the worst offensive line unit. The Bills are the worst offensive line unit. Like, hands down, right? So the Bills are the worst offensive line unit. They have the other McGovern, not our McGovern. But still, that's not a good unit. They're still running out Brown. Like, dude, how long are you going to let Spencer Brown kill Josh Allen's career? Yeah. I forgot that the Bills, the Spencer Brown experiment, the Bills have the worst offensive line unit. The Pats come in at third. The Dolphins come in at second. And the Jets come in at first. I'm going to give it to the Jets. Laken Tomlinson, Vera Tucker, Tittman. The real question marks are at the tackle positions, right? What is Dwayne Brown? What is Mekhi Becton? What is Max Mitchell and Carter Warren? And I get that conversation. But Mekhi Becton, when healthy, is an elite tackle. Elite tackle. And did you guys see that picture of him released today where he was running? Dude looked like he was 330 pounds, sprinting like sub 440. Guy looks insane. Dwayne Brown, if he didn't get hurt last year, he was coming off of a Pro Bowl season. Don't forget that. And Max Mitchell, who played way too early, was playing underweight and didn't do that bad. So again, I don't want to put my bias in here, but if I had to rank the offensive line units, I think that the New York Jets take it. I'm sorry, but I believe that in my heart of hearts. Now we're going to go to the wide receiver room, and this is where it's going to get a little spicy. I'm not even going to have this conversation. I'm putting the New England Patriots last. Juju Smith-Schuster, Devontae Parker, like Kendrick Bourne. Yeah, go home. That's not a wide receiver room. You suck. That's whatever. And I'm not going to have this conversation either. And I hate that I'm doing this. But the Miami Dolphins have the best wide receiver room in the AFC East. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. That's absolutely insane when you look at the offensive line unit that they have. And some guy, Van Roten, went to the Saints. No, he went to the Raiders. He signed there today, actually, which is hilarious because they went and they said, you know what? We're going to sign the most injury-prone quarterback, and then we're going to sign a guy who's responsible for a bunch of injuries to the New York Jets. We're going to mash that up, make that go well, and do everything like that, which is whatever. But again, going back to wide receiver room, the Patriots, they're last. The Miami Dolphins, they're number one. This is their first number one ranking. The Pats still don't have one. The Finns, they got the best wide receiver room. Tyreek Hill's probably arguably the second best wide receiver in football. Jalen Waddle's a top 15 wide receiver in football. And they just got speed, man. Speed in that wide receiver room. And in that system that they're running, they're going to do a lot of really, really good things. I love that. Now, the conversation that you have to have between the New York Jets and the Buffalo Bills when it comes specifically to the wide receiver room is, do you value depth or do you value superstar talent? Which one do you value? Because if we were just taking number one wide receiver versus number one wide receiver, Stephon Diggs is right now a better wide receiver than Garrett Wilson. Now, Garrett Wilson with a real quarterback, we can revisit this conversation at the end of the year, but that's a real thing. But now let's go beyond Stephon Diggs, right? Is Gabe Davis better than Alan Lazard? Is Khalil Shakir better than Corey Davis? Is Trent Sherfield better than McCole Hardman? This is a lot of interesting conversations to be had, but I value depth at the wide receiver position. And while, yes, Stephon Diggs will catch anything thrown in his direction easily, and it's not even close, I'm going to give the nod to the New York Jets here in the wide receiver room. I'm going to give us the second best wide receiver room in the AFC behind the Miami Dolphins over the Bills, because the Bills only have Stephon Diggs, while the Jets have they have Garrett Wilson, they have Alan Lazard, they have Corey Davis, they have McCole Hardman. There's a lot more depth. Wide receivers 2, 3, 4, 5, and even 6 are all better than what, the Buffalo Bills are putting out there. And so that's how I'm doing it. And that's what I'm going to do. And that is our offensive rankings. The quarterbacks, the running backs, the tight ends, the offensive line, and the wide receiver room. Now let's move on to the defenses. This is where it's going to get fun. This is where we're going to get spicy. And we're going to say some things. And we're going to rank these guys. We're going to do it in a way that doesn't really flatter the New York Jets to where it really flatters the New York Jets. We're going to start with the linebacker room. Right? And it hurts for me to say this, but if we're ranking linebackers, the number one linebackers in this division are going to either be, you know what? I'm going to tie them because I think they both have some really, really good linebackers. I'm going to give the Pats the nod here, and I'm going to give them 1A in the linebacker room. But then I'm going to give the Finns 1B in that linebacker room. Long and Baker, that's a really, really good duo. David Long coming from Tennessee, obviously. And then Jerome Baker, They're going to be really, really interesting, especially in that Vic Fangio system. They're going to be used really, really spicily and interestingly. I really like how they're going to be utilized. And I hate saying anything nice about the Miami Dolphins or the New England Patriots, but they've got some dudes. They got some gamers in that linebacker room, and it sucks that they do. But they do. Now we go to the Buffalo Bills linebacker room versus the New York Jets linebacker room. And here's another conversation that we're going to have about, do you value the one talent versus the depth at talent? And the reality is, I think that the Buffalo Bills are going to have to take the nod when it comes to the linebacker room. And it's purely based on the fact that they've got one dude. And that one dude is Matt Milano. Matt Milano is my favorite linebacker in the NFL. Not only because I went to the same high school at him, not just because he ended my football playing career when we were at that high school together, but because I think he's really good, man. So I'm going to give the nod to the Bills. And the New York Jets probably do, and this sucks, and this is why I did this first, have the worst linebacker room in the AFC East. Now, the good part is we play a ton of nickel coverage, so we only ever put 2 linebackers out there. Anyway, we don't play in our base 4-3 like the Buffalo Bills do a ton. And that's great because we don't get to see a ton of our linebackers. And so even though they're kind of trash, we don't have to worry about it. Play a ton of nickel coverage. Alrighty. I'm going to put this up to the chat. What should we rank next? The defensive line or the defensive backs? What do you want to do next? DBs or D-line? Let me know in the chat. What do you guys want to do next? I know what I want to do. But this is an interactive show. Zachary Berner coming in hot. Who wants to do the cornerback? Or no, not cornerbacks. Defensive backs. We're doing all of the corners and safeties in one room. We've got to vote for D-line. We'll give this 30 more seconds. Let me know what you guys want to do. Come on. I know there's like 20 of you guys in here. Someone can type something. It's not just Zach and Harlan. Where's the fungus among us? Where's some guy? Matthew Smith, say something. Doesn't matter to some guy. I'm leaning defensive line so that we can save best for last with the DB. Chiefs live with the curveball. Special teams. D-line is obviously the Jets. What's to discuss by Jay Claus? So let's discuss it. I love it. We're going to talk about the D-line. Because it's not that simple. It's not that simple. Because the D-line is super, 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 super interesting. Because the New England Patriots have Matthew Judon. He's a stud. Josh Uche, also a stud. Deatrick Wise Jr. up the middle. Not a stud, but he's a guy. And then they have a really kind of interior defensive lineman next to him. And some guy, while yes, Matthew Judon is listed as a linebacker, so is Bryce Huff. I don't consider them in the linebacker room, right? Like, he's an outside linebacker. That's an edge. That's a defensive end. They're rarely dropping him into coverage. That guy's rushing the passer every single snap. So I don't like that. Oh, but he's listed as a linebacker. Yeah, so is TJ Watt. TJ Watt's an outside linebacker. Yeah, see, Huff is an outside linebacker. You know, a lot of these guys are going to be listed as outside linebackers just so that they can wear, like, that's what Judon did. Because he used to be listed as an edge, and then he changed his designation to an outside linebacker because linebackers can wear single digits, and so he could wear 9. So remember that matters to players, like the numbers that they get to wear. They want to wear single digits, and so linebackers can wear single digits now. Judon is wearing 9. So Judon, Uche, and Wise Jr., that's a good combo. But you got to put some respect on Jalen Phillips. Had an excellent year last year. Don't forget that the Miami Dolphins also have Christian Wilkins up the middle, working with Zach Seiler, or however you pronounce his last name as well. And that dude is solid. And they traded for, and I'm not a big fan of his, Bradley Chubb. Now, they traded way too much for Bradley Chubb, but that's a really good unit. The Buffalo Bills, Von Miller, Ed Oliver, Daquan Jones, Gregory Rousseau. These are some names. These are some guys. They got players on this. You know, they got players in the Boogie Basham, Shaq Lawson. They got dudes. They got dudes that can play on the defensive line. This conversation is a lot harder than expected because I love our defensive line room. Carl Lawson, Jonathan Franklin Myers, Will McDonald, Jermaine Johnson, Michael Clement, like studs. Quentin Williams, stud. Quentin Jefferson, guy, you know, like we've got Al Woods now to play that nose tackle spot that the New York Jets don't employ ever. This is a much harder conversation than that's mentioned. I'm going to start by putting the Pats last, right? I'm going to put them at 4. And the reason that they're going to be put at 4 is it has nothing to do with the quality of player, right? It's based purely on the fact that somebody has to be 4. Right? That's it. Somebody has to be the 4th best defensive line group in the AFC. Like it just has to be that way. The next unit that I'm going to put is the Miami Dolphins. And again, this is no disrespect to that defensive line unit. And it's all about where is that production coming from? Is it a defensive line unit or is it a defensive line player, right? Like when we look back at the JJ Watt years, did they have this elite defensive line unit or was JJ Watt just elite? TJ Watt. Is TJ Watt a part of a really, really, really good defensive line unit or is TJ Watt just elite? Myles Garrett, is he part of a really good unit or is he just elite? And this is where I'm giving it's a unit ranking, not just one guy on that unit, right? You should see this in the previous rankings. I value the overall unit. No, but Chiefs Live, look at it more closely. Alex Highsmith has only played well when TJ Watt is on the field. He got 5 of his sacks. Last year, he had like 9 sacks, I believe. He got 5 of those sacks in the beginning of the year when TJ Watt was playing. When TJ Watt stopped and got hurt and didn't play those weeks, he did nothing. Nothing at all. At all. How much are you going to attribute Highsmith's success to the fact that he happened to play with arguably the best edge rusher in the NFL? Like, because that matters, right? That matters a whole lot. It's like saying, right? Like it's the opposite argument of the Quinnen Williams conversation, right? Quinnen Williams was so dominant that they had to double team him constantly in his first 3 years. And because he was double teamed constantly, he wasn't able to shine because no one else on that unit could take any of attention away. Well, the moment that other people on that unit started taking attention away, Quinnen Williams has shined because it's harder to create space up the middle because it's easier to double team guys up the middle. When you look at the edge guys are better one-on-one, you know, and they're much better in those one-on-one engagements. And Highsmith only has success when he's attached to TJ Watt, not the other way around. So that's why I'm getting here. And then, like I said, in number 3, moving on, I'm going to put the Dolphins. I love the Dolphins defensive line. I love their depth at that defensive line. They got a lot of really good players. Bradley Chubbs, Andrew Van Ginkel. Jalen Phillips. I like those guys. And then up the middle, Christian Wilkins, Zach Sealer. I believe, and I don't know why I believe in him because I probably shouldn't believe in him, but like Emmanuel Ogba, they got gamers up the middle of that defensive line on the outside. However, when you look at the Buffalo Bills and what they're doing on the defensive line, Von Miller, Gregory Rousseau, Ed Oliver, keep it going, DeQuan Jones. They've got a unit. And so the Bills take the number 2 spot, but the New York Jets are going to take the number 1 spot because not only do we have an elite player inside, we are truly 6 deep on the edge, 6 deep guys that I feel comfortable every snap that they could take, and they would be really, really good guys. That's great. And you look at all that stuff. It's phenomenal. I love it. But Chiefs, he did have 14 and a half sacks. All of those, he did not get a single sack when TJ Watt was not playing. Not one. Not one sack when TJ Watt was playing. When TJ Watt was not playing. Every single one of his sacks came when TJ Watt came back. TJ Watt played the first couple of weeks. He had 5 sacks. I think he had like 5 sacks in like 1 game or 5 sacks in 2 weeks. And then TJ Watt got hurt and missed 6 weeks. Not a peep from him. No pressure, no sacks, no nothing. TJ Watt comes back. Everyone focuses on the best edge rusher in the NFL, arguably. Boom, Highsmith can start facing tight ends on a regular basis, and now he's starting to get his production. His production is dependent on other players. Don't get baited. Don't get baited. Who's that? I forget his name. Bud Dupree. It's the Bud Dupree complex. Or the Juju Smith-Schuster complex. Juju keeps getting these deals in the NFL because they keep thinking that he's a wide receiver 1 when he's very clearly not. He benefited from being a wide receiver 2 next to the best wide receiver in the AFL against Antonio Brown. And that's just disrespectful, right? Because it's Antonio freaking Brown in his prime, and he shouldn't get that. And then when you add on top of the fact that he goes to Kansas City, and yeah, he's there to help you guys, but it's Patrick freaking Mahomes. Oh, real. We're going to get a story tonight. I don't know what story. Start thinking of ideas because I have no idea what story I'm going to tell. We're going to do it. We end every stream with a story night. Every stream. But that leads to the Jets having the best defensive line unit. Easily. In my eyes. When you look at that. I'm going to answer Chiefs Live question. You asked it a while ago. What do I think about the defensive line unit for the Kansas City Chiefs? And here's the problem, Chiefs Live. Do I love George Karlaftis? Yes. I love George Karlaftis. Did he have a rough year 1? Absolutely. Absolutely he did. Do I think that he's going to improve? Absolutely. Do I like the fact that you guys drafted Felix Anudike-Uzomah? You better believe it. That dude is legit. Love it. Is Chris Jones arguably the best interior defensive lineman in the NFL? Probably. I'm not going to give him that award because we have Quinnen Williams, and so moment ever, right? So there's that. But here's the problem. Outside of Chris Jones, you don't really have anything that's like a legitimate player. It's a lot of projection on that defensive line, Chiefs Live. For example, it's projecting that George Karlaftis can have a good year 2. It's projecting that Felix Anudike-Uzomah is going to be the beast that we all think that he's going to be. It's projecting that the interior defensive lineman with like Michael Dana or whoever it is that's going to line up next to Chris Jones. It's the assumption and the belief that they're going to turn it around. There's not much there to really believe in. And that's the problem. Oh, I forgot you guys have Omenihu. I forgot. Charles CO. Forgot you guys have him. He's pretty good. But again, when you look at, the lineup, when you look at the depth chart, it's hard to really project that they're going to do something like higher. So, yeah. He did. He did. I'm not trying to take anything away from that. Dana was solid for you guys in the interior last year. But it's exactly like Karlaftis got better as time went on, but as of right now, it's projection. Right now, I'd probably say that the defensive line unit is your second weakest unit on the team, second behind your wide receiver room, because I don't really like your guys' wide receiver room at all. But the benefit that the Chiefs have is that they have really, really good secondary right now. You know, L'Jarius Sneed, that 4th-round pick, really came into his own last year and played really well. Trent McDuffie looked really good in year 1. Your linebackers with, Willie Gay and Nick Bolton, and I believe you guys brought in a new guy to line up there as well. That's a good linebacker unit. Then you add the fact that, don't forget, you got Justin Reed and Brian Cook back there. And while, yes, Cook definitely needs Tranquil. I knew it. While Brian Cook definitely needs to step up his game, obviously 2nd-round pick in 2022, definitely needs to take a step up in year 2. The real thing that's going to decide what's going to happen with the Kansas City Chiefs defense is, can George Karlaftis take that step that he needs to? Can Udike Uzoma come in and really be that 3rd down specialist that is going to kind of be his role and really do good? Can you guys find a true running mate next to Jones that's going to not just be, Guy, because you need more than just Guy. You need a legitimate player that's going to play there next to him. The Chiefs defense is doing really, really well. So, yeah, I love that. I like your defense. But again, right now for me, it's Chris Jones on the defensive line. It's Chris Jones, and that's it. Everybody else is a question mark. Now, it's some question marks with some upside, but it's some question marks. There you go. Now we're going to talk about the last room that we're going to rank before we go to story time and I end the stream. We're going to talk about the defensive backs. Safeties and corners, all in one unit, joined together. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a fun time doing this one. Because the New York Jets, the Buffalo Bills, the New England Patriots, and the Miami Dolphins all have different strengths in the defensive back room. For example, I would like to believe that the New England Patriots probably have the best safety duo in the AFC East. But their cornerback trio right now kind of sucks because Gonzalez is garbage. And I believe that the whole way, not just because he went to the New England Patriots. Again, taking it back, let's be honest here. Christian Gonzalez is a question mark. We don't know what Christian Gonzalez is as a rookie, and I don't want to project what rookies are going to do because I don't know what impact they're going to have. I don't know if they're going to be good. I don't know if they're going to struggle year 1. But that's an interesting room, especially because now Jalen Mills doesn't have to play as much. Jalen Mills is trash and shouldn't play. Now let's talk about Miami. Miami's got a really interesting cornerback room and safety pair. Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard, one of the better draft picks from last year. I think he was an undrafted free agent. Kader Kohou or whatever, their slot corner, played exceptionally well as an undrafted free agent rookie, coming in and asked to take a relatively large role. You add that with Deshaun Elliott and Javon Holland. That's a scary defensive back room. Then the Buffalo Bills. Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, great safeties. They're old, but they're good. But Tre'Davious White hasn't been good since his rookie year, really. hasn't been good since 2017, if I'm being honest. Maybe 2019 was a good year for him. Who's playing on the other side of him? Is Kaiir Elam going to get that nod? Is it going to be Teron Johnson? Is it going to be Dane Jackson? Is it going to be Kaiir Elam? Who knows? And then you got the New York Jets. Best corner in football. Another top 10 corner in football. And then a top 15 corner in football. In your slot, Jordan Whitehead and Chuck Clark. Chuck Clark, huge upgrade. And then you take into consideration Jordan Whitehead's not going to be playing in the box as much. He's going to be playing more coverage, and that's better suited for him if we take away what he did last year, because he was actually kind of okay in coverage last year. So let's do this. We're going to go ranking these units. Buffalo Bills are going to get the worst defensive back room in the AFC East. Why? Because their cornerback room. I don't know what their cornerback room is. That's the unfortunate truth. What is this cornerback room? I don't know what they're going to be doing. And you can't have questions in a position group and be ranked higher than 4th. Then we're going to go to the New England Patriots because they were able to replace Mills. Jalen Mills isn't going to have to play. Gonzalez is going to play on the outside, and I really like Gonzalez. He was my number 1 cornerback on my board. Then they've got, obviously, Jonathan Jones playing relatively well on the opposite side. And then, like I said, arguably probably the best safety room in the AFC East with Kyle Duggar, and Adrian Phillips, even though he's old. So the Bills get the number 4 spot. Then I'm going to give the New England Patriots the number 3 spot. For all of the reasons that I said, right? Really good safety room, average cornerback room. But the biggest thing is what is Christian Gonzalez? Too big of a question mark for me to rank him above a solid cornerback room in the New York Jets, a solid cornerback room in the Miami Dolphins, and solid safeties on both of those teams. Now we're going to talk about the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets. And we're going to go position for position. Cornerback 1, cornerback 2, cornerback 3, safety 1, safety 2. Who are you taking straight up if you had to pick one of those guys? If you had to pick Sauce Gardner or Jalen Ramsey, who are you taking? It's an easy choice. You're going to take Sauce Gardner every day of the week. So boom, 1 point for the Jets. All right, let's move on to the cornerback 2. Are you going to take Xavier Howard or are you going to take DJ Reed? I'm going to take DJ Reed. Howard sucked last year. I'm going to take DJ Reed. Now let's move on to the slot cornerback room. Are you going to take Michael Carter II or are you going to take Kader Kohou? I'm going to take Michael Carter II. And this is no disrespect to Kohou. As an undrafted free agent, he did a lot of good things. But Michael Carter II is arguably ranked as a top 20 cornerback in the NFL. I have him ranked as a top 15 cornerback in the NFL. From the slot, he's that good. Boom. This is 3 wins for the New York Jets at the starting position. Now let's go to the safety position. Are you going to take Chuck Clark or are you going to take Javon Holland? Now, this is actually an interesting question. This is actually a difficult question. I personally, unfortunately, I'm going to give it to Javon Holland. I think he's a really, really good safety. And I think he did a lot of really good things last year. But now we're going to have a conversation. Are you going to take Deshaun Elliott or are you going to take Jordan Whitehead? And I'm going to take the guy who has the Super Bowl ring. I'm going to take Jordan Whitehead. Because in Jordan Whitehead's new role, I think he's going to do a lot of really, really good things. So the Miami Dolphins are going to get the second best defensive back room in the AFC East, and the Jets are going to get the best defensive back room in the AFC East because they should. Now that we've done the offense and the defense, position groups, let's just rank the overall groups. Who is the best defense in the AFC East? Easily, the New York Jets. Best defense in the AFC East is not close. It's not close. Who is the second best defense in the AFC East? Now we're having a conversation. Now we're going to have a difficult conversation. But I think Nope. They lost their defensive coordinator. I'm going to have to give it to the Patriots. I'm going to give it to the Patriots. And then I'm going to give it to the Finns. And then I'm going to give it to the Bills. And it's not because this is massive gap. I think the Jets are the best defense. We haven't lost anybody that was crucial. We're keeping everybody around. And it's the third year in the system. And the guys are, we had a lot of young guys that are going into getting more and more experience. And they were ranked the number 2 defense according to PFF last year. And the number 5 defense according to DVOA. I'm taking the New York Jets. Then I'm putting the Pats at 2 purely based on it's Bill Belichick. They kept everybody around. And they added a player at a position of need in Christian Gonzalez so that they don't have to play Mills. Then the Finns get 3. They have a great unit, but Vic Fangio is going to be bringing in a whole new defensive scheme. How well are these players going to adjust to a new scheme? And they've got a whole ton of new players. It's interesting. And then the Bills are going to go into the last spot. They lost their defensive coordinator. They lost their entire linebacker room, not named Matt Milano. Micah Hyde and is it Micah Hyde? Yeah, Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer are old, but also we don't know what they have in the cornerback room, really, with Tre'Davious White, and who knows who's going to play on the other side. So the Bills get the number 4. Now we're going to rank offensive units. Offensive units, New England Patriots, they go last. Is not even close. Then the Bills are going to go into 3rd place. Yes, they've got an elite quarterback. That's fine. And they got an elite wide receiver. But the rest of the wide receivers suck in Buffalo. Running back 1 is their quarterback, and they've got a horrible offensive line. Then I'm going to give it to the Finns. Finns got the 2nd best offense. And they have the 2nd best offense because Tua isn't going to stay healthy. We know that. Who's going to be throwing balls under center? And when you take into combination the fact that the New York Jets, in my opinion, have the best offensive line, have the 2nd best, the second best wide receiver room, the 2nd best tight end room, the best running back room, tied for 1st in the quarterback room. When you take all that into consideration, I think that the Jets are poised to have the best offense in the AFC East. And now let's rank these teams as a whole. And it's going to follow the same rankings as the offense. I think it goes Jets at the top as the best team in the AFC East. The Finns right behind them at 2nd place. The Bills behind the Dolphins in 3rd. And then the Pats way down the road in 4th. And those are my AFC rankings of every position group, the offense, the defense, and the teams as a whole. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Hawk in the house. Quan will sign in August, so he doesn't have to practice all summer. Problem is Quan's expectation. What does Quan want? I don't think we're bringing back Quan. I think Jamie and Sherwood is the guy. The best thing for this football team is for Jamie and Sherwood to take that next step and become the middle linebacker of this football team so that we can move CJ Mosley to the will linebacker spot, so that we can move Quincy Williams to the Sam linebacker spot, so that we see less of Quincy Williams, and he's only really coming in on running downs where we know that he's going to be effective and he's going to be able to tackle and to do those things. CJ Mosley does not have that sideline to sideline speed anymore. Asking him to play middle linebacker is a misuse of his skill set, but putting him in that weak linebacker role to really get him in the run game and tackling, because that is what he excels at, is fantastic. And then hopefully Jamie Sherwood has improved in his ability to get out from behind blocks and to do those things to continue to fill the spots. And as a former safety, you hope that he has been able to maintain some level of coverage ability from that middle linebacker spot. And that is the situation with Jamie Sherwood. Rico the Pup, Jordan Poyer wanted to test the market, said he was done playing in the cold or something, then re-signed when he realized how the market valued him. Exactly. The same thing is happening with Quan, Rico. The same thing. He thought that after 1 year of being healthy and playing on an elite defensive unit in a rotational role, that a team would be willing to take a shot on him as a starter. You have to remember that he said it in his interview. He doesn't want to be this journeyman. He wants to get one more payday. He wants to get one more crack at the barrel to bring in a bunch of money. And the problem is I don't think any NFL team is going to value him like that. It's just the reality of the situation, unfortunately. So, guys, we're going to end the stream with a story time. Real 84 with some recommendations. Your best, oh, that hurt moment you witnessed. That's a good one. Best animal engagement story that you've witnessed. That's a good one. Dom C in the house. A little late coming in at the end of the stream. What's going on, Dom? What story do we want to hear? Gather round, my children. Gather round. What story do we want to hear? What kind of story do we want to hear? I'm trying to think of like a good one. I'm trying to think of a good one. I don't know if I have a good story off the top of my head. Guys, help me out. Help me out here. Help me out here. Give me a recommendation. What do you guys want to hear? Because I kind of already gave my best animal engagement story reel in a previous stream where we talk about how I accidentally went swimming with a gator and we only found out afterwards that we almost died. My best, oh crap, that hurt moment. I think I told that story too. Right? Pretty sure I told that story. Man, this is hard. I need to prepare these. I need to get like a notebook with stories or like do once a month. I'm going to run out of stories eventually, right? Like, most embarrassing love story within your network. I am, but I don't really have any moments, Rico, where like I'm engaged with other teams. You see, the thing is I live in Florida. I've lived in Florida for a long time. So it's really difficult to get these stories of these other teams and other franchises because I've only been to one Jets game in my life, and I don't remember it because I was too small. There's pictures of me going, but I don't remember it. I've only been to 2 NHL games in my life, and that was once to watch the Maple Leafs play Tampa, and then my wife surprised me with tickets to Toronto to go watch the Leafs in Toronto. You know, I don't think I've ever been to a baseball game, like ever. I've never seen the Mets live, ever. You know? Wait, you live in Florida? Oh, a Florida man encounter? Do I have a Florida man encounter? Let me think. Florida man. That's a good one, Rico. Florida man. Oh, I got one. Rico, thank you. I got one. It was more Florida girl than Florida man, but this is a great story. So my parents, when me and my sister were growing up, we didn't do stockings and stuff like that. We did stockings, right? But the stockings, what they were like a bunch of gift cards. Like my parents would go out and spend like 50, 60 bucks on $5 gift cards from a bunch of fast food joints. So like you'd get like a $5 Burger King card, a $5 McDonald's card, $5 Subway card, and all this stuff. My parents did this like until like we were way too old, like until like I was like 20. I was married when I got my last one of these stockings with this bunch of gift cards. I was like, Mom, I'm a whole grown ass adult. I'm married. What are you doing? Right? Thought it was really, really funny. But when I was 17, my sister is a year younger than me. She was 16. We got these cards. Now, The problem with these cards is like they're really obscure. Like we didn't really eat at Burger King, but like we had $5. So you best believe we were going to go to a Burger King and use that $5. So we kind of turned it into, a whole thing. Like me and my sister, we would hang out, we would sit, talk, try to connect because we had grown apart, blah, blah, blah. So we go to this Burger King and we order our food, right? And we're sitting there waiting for them to hand the bag in. I don't remember what it was, but we didn't go through the drive-thru. I think it was like broken, or I don't remember. So we go inside and we're just hanging off to the side. We've got our drinks. We're waiting for our burgers and our food and the fries and all that crap to come out. And this how do I say this respectfully? This larger than life lady, female person. How do I not get canceled by saying this story? This larger than life person comes into the restaurant, kicks the door open. Well, they were pulls, but you get the point. And starts screaming and cussing. Where is he? Where? I know you back there. Screaming. Trying to find this young gentleman. I don't know if he was young. We never saw him. Screaming. Get your black out up here. I know you're back there. Come out here. I saw you with that girl. I got your phone. Screaming at the top of her lungs. And here's the pictures on the phone, thrown down on the counter, and she was throwing a hissy fit. All of the cup tops on the floor, all of the salt packets on the floor, all of the straws on the floor. Did she try to jump over to the counter to get to the back? You best believe that she did. Absolutely. She threw her phone to try to hit the guy in the back who was running away to hide in the back. And there you see just me and my sister in the back, just like, hey, we just came for our burgers. It got so bad, and this lady would not leave, that the guy who had like served us like looked over the glass and was like, hey, get out of the restaurant and go to the drive-through line. Like, I know you can't just walk to the window. We'll hand you your food out the window. Cause like, I can't, what are we supposed to do? This is crazy. And this lady is freaking out and screaming. And so we leave the store. And right as we leave, the cops show up. Dude, she swung on 2 cops. I was like, wait, no, I got to see this. How is this going to go down? And she was like, I ain't leaving till he come out here. And she's screaming. Dude, she swung like closed fist, ready for just windmill of bones, throwing haymakers at these cops. And then me and my sister, we went to the drive-thru line, got our food, and I have never been back. Never been back to a burger, not just that Burger King, but to a Burger King since then. And it's, again, not for anything other than we told that story to my mom and my dad when we got home because that was hilarious. And my mom, obviously, she gave us like those gift cards for the day. She never gave us a Burger King gift card after that. And again, I've never had the desire to go eat at Burger King since then. And so I haven't been back to Burger King since then. So it's been like, how old am I? Oh my God, am I 27? Dude, that was 10 years ago. Holy crap. It was 10 years ago. But yeah, when I say I was at a loss for words. I didn't know how to properly react to that situation. Because you hear about these situations. You hear about stuff like this happening. But you don't think that it's real, right? You hear about Florida man. You hear about the guy who's trying to go into a Wendy's and rob a Wendy's with an alligator as his weapon of choice. True story, by the way. But you never expect to just. It was too good of a story. Come to find out later, because we looked it up. She found the guy. After she got like sent to jail and then bailed out, she found the guy. And not only did she get a charge of aggravated assault on a police officer, she also got an attempted murder charge because she tried to stab the guy. So there is your Florida lady, Florida woman, Florida man, Florida person. Let's not get canceled, right? Yeah. Crazy. People are crazy, man. People are crazy. So there you go. Guys, if you're in here, please hit the like button. I would greatly appreciate it. If you're watching this after fact and you made it all the way to the end, please leave a recommendation for a story. I'm going to create a list. I got to come up with stories. I got some good ones. I've had a pretty interesting life, I think, right? So let me know. We're going to end the stream there. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Make sure to hit the like button on the way out. Guys, 50% of you guys aren't subscribed. What is going on? So hit the subscribe button. It helps the channel out a ton. Thank you so much for hanging out. We'll be back next Friday at 9:30. And keep your ears out. Keep your ears open. We might have some interesting Talking Jets with Tigo's adjacent news coming soon for some of you gamers out there. And yeah. Alrighty, boys and girls. Thanks for hanging out with me all night. Have a wonderful Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay tuned. We might have a surprise stream this weekend, assuming that my wife takes the baby to the baby shower. We might get a surprise stream tomorrow. Who knows? Alrighty, guys. Thanks for hanging out so much and being great and going through this process with me. And last but not least, go Jets.